All right. So now we're going to go through kind of the process for drawing views and making sure that you line them up and everything. Okay? So step one, pick a front view, right? Figure out what you're going to be used for your front view and draw as much of it as possible. So kind of figure out, draw it out. So if I go to this, and that's my part. Which should I use as front view? Should I use that as the front view? Should I use that as the front view?
No.
That as the front view?
Yes.
Yeah, right? Gives me, that's an L shape. Here I've got a box with a line in the middle. So better front view, more descriptive. See if I can pull this off. So when I start drawing it, I want to draw some construction lines, so some light lines. Which computer are you on? What's the number next to it? Oh, I see. So we want to start out with construction lines first. So light lines, these aren't going to be too dark, then we don't have to erase later. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. No, I'll do it. 7. 4, 5, 6, 8. Up 3, right? So this one, I was able to do the whole front view. Good. You won't always be able to do the whole front view the first time. Sometimes you'll have to do part of it, then do part of another view and come back to it. Then we want to project our lines. So now we've got that front view, and I could take those and I can finalize those lines, right? So I would go back over them with a darker color. I can go over those a little darker. Which one should this be, my thick or my thin?
Thick.
Yeah, it's my thick, right? On the outside it's visible, it should be nice and thick. Not too thick though. Just thick. If you look at those, you don't need to make it too much thicker than some of the lines on those on the A size ones. You don't need to darken them to make them like 1/8 of an inch thick. Okay? I've gotten all those drawings before where people darken them in, and literally their lines are like that thick. You don't need to go back and forth over it. Just draw it once, press hard to get it dark. Okay? So now I need to project. I'm going to go back to my construction lines, and from every corner, I'm going to project my lines up. Do I need to go from there and from there going up? Same point, right? So I just need to project one of them. I'm going to go from this corner, bring it up, that corner, bring it up, that corner, bring it up. Okay? Draw that front line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, Amazing how that worked out. So what do I know about the outside of that? Outside is what? Is it going to be the full rectangle there? Yeah, right? So I look straight down on it. I get a full rectangle there. And I can see that here and here there's no other lines crossing it. So that means this line has to go the full depth. So I know that this is going to be straight. That's going to be straight. There's no way it can do anything else. And I can see down there there's no other lines crossing it. Connect those. But here I've got two lines crossing. So is this line in here going to be hidden or hidden or visible? It's going to be visible, right? How do we know that? Besides just looking at that. If we had only this view, how would we know that that's the visible line? Yeah, because the corner they're projected from is on the top side of that thing, right? Yeah. There's nothing above it, so that's our top view, right? The side view, same thing, but going off to the side. Do I need to do the side view? Want me to do the side view? No. Skip it. All right. Now we're going to do a little bit same kind of thing, but a little bit different. So what's the first step? Front view, right? As a hidden line, or as a instruction. Like that, right? So that's my front view. Do I need anything else there? See, sometimes when you go from an isometric, here things kind of stretch out a little bit. So don't go worried about the size. Just make sure you count your squares going back. Okay? And count them going down, count them going forward. I can also see that here, if I bring this one edge right here down, so I've got two more squares. I'll put those two extra squares there. So you can kind of make sure. So I'm going to go ahead and darken that in. Why did I do it as construction if I'm just going back and darkening it in again? Just to be sure. Could I wait to darken it in until I'm all done? Yeah. If you draw really heavy and you see yourself smudging more, keep construction lines until you're almost done, and then darken them in. And then darken the top view, then the front, and the side. That way you're not having this dark and then rubbing your hand all over it when you're trying to do the top view. Okay? Because this is what smudges stuff. Or make sure you hold your hand up off the paper. Just some people smudge more than others. If you have an eraser, if you just do a bunch of like eraser stuff on the side, then you can put that on and kind of rub it a little bit. That'll kind of pick up the smudges sometimes. Or you can use the eraser shield and kind of really go at it and erase them all. So I have that. Now I'm going to project my lines, right? Project them up and project them over. All right. Now I've got two sets of two lines in the middle. Which one's going to be what?
This one's gonna be hidden.
The left one will be
It's going to be hidden, right? How do we know that's hidden line?
under the thing like that.
Because that line is under here, right? So if I come up, I hit something that's on. From here I come up, I hit something else that's on the same plane. it's hidden, right? If this was back more, and it didn't line up straight above it, it wouldn't make it a hidden line, right? No. But because it's right above it, it's going to make it a hidden line. So that'll be hidden here. And this one,
Solid.
that's going to be visible, right? Something like that. I'll do the side view. Just to make sure, I'm going to project those lines too. That way I can bring those down from my miter line. I know it's lined up right. Your miter line has to go this way, pointing away from your front view. If it goes this way, you're going to do it backwards. Okay? So like before, the one that was backwards, if you do your miter line but you do it the wrong way, it'll flip things backwards. So make sure it's pointing kind of in line with your front view like that. Okay? So I can darken. Bottom line. What is it?
Solid.
Solid, right? Top line?
Solid.
Solid, right? That's right there on that outside. Like that, right? Any questions? It's going to get harder. Ready? There. Now how do I start? It's the first step. Front view. Draw as much as I can. And part of that draw as much as you can is draw as much visible stuff as you can. This edge back there, what's that going to be in the front view? Look at the front view. It's going to be hidden, right? So I'm not going to draw it in the front view until I can draw it in the top view. So I want to draw it where I can see it visible, and then I'll project it. Okay? So you always want to draw where you can see the visible in that view. Okay? That'll be another way you make sure that you get everything. So that way and that things line up. Okay? 2, 3. This one I'm going to not make anything finished until we're pretty much to the end. So you can see. So I have that. Now I'm going to project. Okay? A line there. A line there. And in here it's going to come in, right? So it's going to come in down 1, in 2, down there, there, right? So
You rate that one.
yeah, so that needs to go away, right? So I'm going to finish the top view. I can finish it, right? So I'm going to finish the top view. And when you're drawing it, I'd put my triangle there, do this part, then do that part, and then come back in and do that. Okay? That way these two are lined up. If you do this one, you draw that one, you do this one, you draw that one, you do that one, those two might not line up. So you have two things that are lined up, put it on both of them, draw that one, because you know where it's going to stop because of your guideline. your construction lines, right? So then you can tell it exactly where to be. And now that you know those two lines, they're lined up perfectly. They're not offset or anything. Because even if they're a little bit and they're twisted maybe, I'll see it. Those little things bug me to hell. Ask him. He just had, he's going to have to redo the catalog pages he put on the wall because they're crooked by like half a degree. He had to do the labels on the trash cans like 5 times.
They're still not good.
They're still not good. I can see it. Other people that know, that they'll look at it, they can see it. So, and it looks a lot better if it lines up. Okay? What's that like? Solid, right? So that'll be there. Top view, done? Yeah. So now what should I do? Did that. Now I want to project the lines back to the front view. So now I've got stuff on the top that I don't have in the front view, right? So I'll project it back down, kind of the opposite if I did up. And then I can just keep repeating that process. So I'll take that corner. Bring it back down, right? Now can I finish the front view? Yeah, so now I'm going to change over. What's that line going to be? Hidden, right? Something like that. See, those hidden lines, that bugs me. If you do hidden lines, put your triangle down, dash, 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 dash. Keep them in line. Don't do one at a time like I did. Even though the lines are straight, they don't line up. Not good. Just as bad as them being freehand squiggles. Okay? Now what? You need a side view, right? So maybe I'll project from top view over. Front over. And now, holy construction lines, Batman. We've got too much stuff. How do we know what goes where? How can we break it down into smaller pieces to make it easier to understand? What do we know? What about the outside of it? The whole outside is solid, right? So we got a solid line all the way across. Then come, this back line goes all the way down. Means on the outside somewhere we're going to have a solid line going down. This goes all the way across. Back up. So we know the outsides are solid, a box, right?
Yeah.
So let's do that. So now we don't have to worry about 3 lines. So what's what? So when you have a line cross like that,
Solid.
we can never have 2 lines that are solid cross. We can never have 2 solid lines crossing. We know that for a fact. You can't never have 2 edges. There's one exception to that, but we'll get to that later. We'll get to that next week. But for the most part, you can never have 2 solid lines do that. Okay? And if you can figure out what the exception is for next week, you get to do the lecture. You get to skip lecture. But for the most part, you'll never have two solid lines crossing. It's always going to be something going behind or in front of something, or something cutting something else off. So what's this horizontal line? Solid, right? Got an edge there, edge, edge, edge on the outside, solid. Right, because this piece is that piece. Those two pieces, that piece and that piece. The middle piece is that, that's, that. But they're all the same height, so it looks like a straight line when you look straight at it. Now what about that? Solid where?
From the middle line down.
From the middle line down. How do we know that?
Because your view on
There's your top view, front view.
Because from the front view, right? Where is that line in the front view?
the hidden.
It's over here on the bottom, right? It means it has to be on the bottom here. It can't flip spots like that. It's the bottom here, it has to be the bottom here. Top here, top here. So that's the usual way I like to break stuff up. The short section, the tall section. No matter how complex the part is, there's always going to be different levels of stuff. And then you kind of break up into those different levels. Okay, what level is it here? It's going to be that same level over here. Okay? So if you kind of match that up and do one level at a time sometimes, it makes it easier. So usually you start with the top level. Especially if you're doing the top view, you look at, okay, what's on top? I can see that stuff. Then I look below, okay, what's the next level down? Can I see it, or is it hidden by what's on top? So here, can be solid or hidden?
So
Solid, right? I know it's solid because up here, I can see that corner is the furthest thing towards the side. So there's that. Any questions? All right. Yes, no? All right, so for today, you're doing MVS 1A, MVN 1A, MVN 2A, and MVN 3A. So I'll show you guys those. See down the bottom? It tells you what number it is. So MVS 1A. Kind of take a look at that. So what it has is it has an isometric view with letters on it, and then top, front, side view with numbers on it. So what you're doing is like A, you find surface A in the isometric, and then you tell it what number it is in the top, front, and side. So in the top view, where do you see that surface? Yep, 13. 13 right here. That's A, right? Where's it in the front view? What?
23.
Yeah, 23 right here, right? Where's it in the side view?
31.
Yeah, 31. Okay? And that's all you do for this one, all the way down. Just to help you recognize what surfaces, where they go, kind of how they would see them, stuff like that, okay? MVN 1A is this. So I have an isometric view here. The bottom of it is flat. Okay? I'll let you guys know the bottom is flat all the way across. Here's the top view of it. And so it's already just kind of showed you where the top view is. What you need to do is make the front, the right, the left, the back, and the bottom views. Okay? What should you know about the bottom view?
The opposite of the top.
We're going to take the top and we'll flip it over, right? Take the right, flip it over, make the left. Take the front, flip it over, make the back. Okay? And then when you flip it, also be careful for,
The visible headlines.
yeah, visible and headlights might switch. Ones on the outside are going to stay the same probably, right? They have to. But things on the inside might flip to being hidden lines, right? So on this one, I've got a corner here because that's this top corner. If I'm looking at it from the bottom, can I see that corner? If I'm looking at it from the bottom, can I see that corner? So what happens? It becomes hidden, right? Does a new corner appear back in here? Up here? Does a new corner show up right there? No. You don't get new geometry. You're just looking at the same thing from a different side so that it's going to kind of flip over, okay? You're not going to flip corners like that. In VN 2A, same kind of thing, but you're not given the top view to start out with. You need to make the top view the front, left, right, back, bottom, okay? In VN 3A, you're given the isometric, all you have to do is top, front, side, okay? Any questions? No? Alright. Oh, things like this. If you can't tell how far it goes, what should you assume?
All the way to.
It goes all the way through. Unless they tell you otherwise, assume it goes all the way through. Okay? So like that goes all the way through, that goes through, that goes through, that goes down. Okay? Yeah. Any other questions? If you have problems with them, come up and ask. Call me over. I'll be wandering the room. Make sure I see you. Don't